Welcome to this week's episode of the Everything Went Black podcast. And thank you for checking out a brand new episode of The Black Lodge, my collaboration with Brandon Legion of Horror Wolf 666, where we explore Twin Peaks in its entirety. Now, Brandon and I are members of an elite cabal of content creators known as the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. Kicking things off every other Monday, we've got Horror Wolf 666, brought to you by Brandon Legion. Tuesday, we've got Into the Necrosphere, brought to you by Jackie Smith. Wednesday, we've got day one of a double shot of podcasts with Everything Went Black and Iblis Manifestations. Thursday is another double shot with the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast and day one of Soul Knocks. Friday, Spitball Media comes at you for an irreverent pop culture podcast. Saturday is a day off, but Sunday is day two of Soul Knocks, brought to you by Carl Hikara. If you're into this, I thank you for all the support. If you want to support the podcast further, you can join the Everything Went Black Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to bonus content. For $5 a month, you get bonus content plus early access to all of the shows. And for $25, you can become a sponsor.
Through the darkness of future past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds. Fire, walk with me. We lived among the people. I think you say convenience store. We lived above it. I mean it like it is, like it sounds.
Here we are for another installment of Black Lodge. How's it going, Brandon?
It's going good, man. How are you doing?
Very busy these days, man. It's a little overwhelming. Like we were talking about, before we started this recording. Just like it seems like a lot of stuff's going on. Not bad stuff, mostly good, but still time consumers.
Yeah, I totally agree. A lot of stuff going on my end of the woods as well, and nothing really bad, just things that has to be dealt with before you can do things that are actually like that you want to do, that's fun and enjoyable. So yeah, totally get that.
Yeah. So I have to say that this episode 3 in season 1, technically I guess it's episode 2 because if you don't count the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
But this episode of Twin Peaks, Zen or the Skill to Catch a Killer, is probably my favorite episode of the entire show.
It's definitely up there for me, especially towards the end, which we'll get to. There's some quotes on there that are so fucking badass. Yeah.
it kind of reveals without early what this whole thing is about really at the end. You know what I mean? And but this far into the series, you would have no idea what you're watching. But then, guys like us and everyone else who's probably listening to this, we've seen this show many times and we know all of the background and folklore and everything associated with this. When you catch these phrases here and there, you're like, oh, okay, this is what it's about.
Exactly. Yeah. The backstory and all definitely helps. And like I say, if you can get into some of the novels about Twin Peaks too, that definitely helps with this. But we're here to kind of decipher this down a little bit for everybody. So
yeah. But I think I told you that I've been listening to the audiobooks of those the supplemental Twin Peaks material that's out there.
What do you think?
Great, man. I love it. It's funny. I was listening to it one morning on a weekend and my wife came down and she's like, what podcast is this? Is this like a true crime podcast? I'm like, no, it's the Twin Peaks audiobook I've been checking out. And yeah, it has that true crime like podcast vibe to it when you listen to it.
Definitely. And it also reminds me a bit of like like a X-Files series too, the way everything's broke down and stuff, like different like cases of,
Yeah.
the aliens or the like sightings of like Bigfoot and all that other cool supernatural things that are going on with it.
But we'll fit that in once we get to a little bit further down the line because some of that describes what happens after, the events of season 1 and 2. So we'll
Hmm.
we'll we'll lace that in later on, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. So this episode aired April 19th, 1990. Seems like yesterday.
It does. I can remember getting up in the middle of the night, my mom be watching this on CBS, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" It's like it was so odd
Yeah.
to me at that young age, but yeah, seems like yesterday.
This one was written by David Lynch and Mark Frost, and it was directed by David Lynch. And I think that, it's funny when you get real granular about all the episodes, and you think when back in the day, you're like, oh, David Lynch, he did everything, right?
Hmm.
But then you discover that different directors stepped in for certain episodes, and you sort of get that overview, and eventually you're like, oh, you know what? I can really tell that Lynch did this one, and this one has his name all over it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we open at the Horn household eating dinner, and we have the introduction of a new character. We've got Jerry, played by Patrick Kelly, who is returning from his trip to Paris,
Hmm.
and he actually shows up in some other Lynch films too. He was a guy walking down the street in Wild at Heart, actually, when they were in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Like he didn't have any speaking parts, but I noticed him. I'm like, oh, that's Jerry from Twin Peaks.
His my favorite role from this actor, David Kelly, has got to be T-Bird from The Crow.
Oh
Like,
yeah, man. Yeah.
man, it's like yeah, and he was also he had a shorter stint in Commando. I don't know if you remember when Arnold was
Oh,
holding him over the side of the fucking mountain and
oh,
stuff, about to drop him.
oh man. I didn't register that as Patrick Kelly, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch of shit, and he's always got like a different like facial hair thing going on, or no facial hair, like in Twin Peaks. Like he's kind of always in like camouflage, but his size gives him away. He's a very Danzigish type character, you
Yeah.
know. So
I
yeah.
want to make a note that he's wearing a bow tie, which is it always that's a statement, you know what I mean? Bow ties.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's a standout, dapper fella, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of like aside from like going to your senior prom or something like that. I don't know about bow ties really.
Yeah, I wore one in a kindergarten. That was it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the big reveal here is he brings one of his favorite uh meals, I guess, from Paris. It's baguettes with brie and butter.
Yeah.
And he mentions that he ate four of them every day.
Dude, I found it so bizarre the way they started devouring him and stuff. It's like they're over obsessive over this basic ass like big old piece of bread and like some cheese and butter. Like it was very weird, man. I made a note of it because I thought it was so strange the way they're just like so nuts about it.
Yeah. I have to say though, the first time I went to Europe and I was kind of like blown away by brie. I'd never had it before I went there. It was probably a few years after this episode aired. I was on tour in Europe for the first time and it was like that's like a big thing is bread and cheese. Like when you go to play these gigs, they have show up food and your meal and everything and it's like what's this weird cheese? And like and I was like, man, I'm feeling brie and bread. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool how he goes to kiss um, Sylvia Horn, and
Mm.
she kind of turns his head because she's like skeeved out by him, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, and she should be. I mean, he's pretty fucking skeevy. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a slimy little dude.
And obviously this is Ben and Jerry.
Yeah.
Ben and Jerry Horn, you know.
Yeah.
So Ben calls him to the side so they can speak in private, and he tells him that first that Leland Palmer's daughter was murdered, and then that the Norwegians stepped away from the deal they were working on. And he was like completely dismisses Laura's murder at first and is like, oh, those Norwegians, I thought we had them by the horns, and like and then he's like, did you say Leland's daughter was murdered? And it was just so this guy doesn't care about anybody really, it seems
No,
like.
very self-centered.
So he states that he's depressed, and Leland says, "I have just the remedy for that." So here we learn about One-Eyed Jacks, and he's like, we've got a new girl at One-Eyed Jacks, freshly perfumed from the store. So we draw this connection that Horn is grooming young ladies that work at the perfume counter at his department store for to go up to One-Eyed Jacks. And it's odd. It's funny. Like Blackie, she's like the Ghislaine Maxwell of of Twin Peaks,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally got that vibe. Like, definitely has a Ghislaine thing going on, and yeah, that whole One Eye Jack's place, man, is so fucking weird. You got the giant like antler light thingy or over top of like was like a pool table or something. Like the whole vibe of that place is really seedy and it's fucking dark and nasty, man.
Totally, and
Yeah.
it's just over the border in Canada. So it's they take and we see later they're taking a motorboat over there. And I spent a fair amount of time in that part of Washington State, like actually right around the time maybe this show was out, maybe a few years after that. And where I was staying was like close to the Canadian border, in a town called Bellingham. So if any of you guys out, Bellingham was a weird town, just especially in the early 90s. But yeah, there was like I guess that's why the show resonated with me so much too. Is like there's just like a weirdness to that part of the country, man. And I'm including Canada as like across both sides of the border. There's like a weird seedy like vibe that happens around there. And this show plays directly into that. So that whole taking a boat to One-Eyed Jack's thing was like, oh, I wonder if that actually, I'm sure things like that existed.
Oh yeah, and it probably still do. Unfortunately, there's probably some weird like grooming areas up that way. I don't, I don't know, some weird shit going on, but yeah.
Yeah. So we cut to the Hayward household where James is over for dinner. And this is the relationship with James and Donna is how it, I guess it's realistic in some ways because, back they're in high school, even though
Mm.
James looks like he's like 30.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that was the thing back then too. Um, how quickly relationships change, and James obviously was Laura's like secret boyfriend, and Donna was with Mike, and that relationship just kind of dissolved really. Like you don't really hear about them being together at this point.
Hmm.
So the Haywards are getting ready to turn in. It's probably like 8:30 or so, you know. They're
Oh
ready to
yeah,
go to bed.
old people time.
Yeah,
That's what
ready
it
to go
is.
to bed. So and it's I just think it's so realistic and this is so spot on for David Lynch and his understanding of like American families, where they're allowing Donna to entertain her boy, her male friend while they go to bed,
Hmm.
in their house, but they're anxious about it that you can tell, and it's just like, Dr. Hayward is like, we're going up to bed now. Are you going to church with us, Donna? 9 o'clock on the dot, like very like middle America, like maybe a time that doesn't even really exist anymore. I don't even know if people interact like that these days, but it was very much of that like conservative, like middle America. And I mean conservative, not necessarily in like a racist, Nazi way, but like just like old school,
Right, right.
Yeah. I just find that I always like that scene, that interaction with them.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely has that old school family feel because I can remember like back in that time period, like having friends over and stuff, and my dad like, oh, we gotta wake up early, go fishing the next morning or whatever. We'll be up at 5. Always reminding me that like don't do stupid shit.
Yeah,
Like don't
like
yeah.
and you're still very much in the totalitarian rule of your family, like you have to like this is our rules and regulations. You got to follow them.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely old school family vibes.
So now we're back with the horns and they're going to One-Eyed Jacks, and Jerry asks Ben, it's like don't tell me we're going to go to the casino first. And Ben's like, I didn't come here to lose my shirt. Just take it off. Which is like some of the like most like just funny, like uncomfortable like dialogue. I don't know. It just makes me laugh to listen to those guys interact.
Yeah, they're so greasy and like I said, seedy. That word seedy is going to come out a bunch with these guys. Like, yeah,
So they roll up. We meet Blackie. Jerry goes to the bar and he orders a couple drinks, and the bartender's like, you know, gets his order right. So that's two whatever, you know, vodka crayons or whatever the hell they ordered. And he's like, next stop, rocket science.
yeah,
So he's a dick, basically, Jerry.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So they reveal the new girl. So there's this big flourish of and this is another scene that I feel is very effective. These ladies of the evening all file out. They create these ranks on one side or the other of the room, and then the new girl comes out. She emerges from the crimson curtains of what lies beyond this room, you know.
Hmm.
And the whole point of this thing was like there's a 50-50 chance of you being the first guy to be with the new girl. So they
Hmm.
literally just flip a coin. And of course Ben wins. Which also for years and years and years, I'm like, I wonder if that was a trick coin, or something like that.
Yeah,
Wouldn't put it past Ben.
no,
But this is a creepy scene, man, because you can see the girl is nervous as Ben is like just like lurking closer to her too.
yeah, yeah.
And
I get like vibes like he's like a wolf about to like pounce on his prey, like she's a young lamb. Like it's totally creepy shit.
yeah, and the other thing for decades, I've often wondered too, like, all right, 50-50 chance of being the first one. Does that mean that Jerry goes in after him? Like I'm like, or he just gets another prostitute to hang out with.
Hmm, yeah,
I
not
don't
sure
know.
on that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know.
It's like a disgusting thing to think about, but I wonder if that's how because they're brothers, and there's all sorts of weird shit that people do.
Yeah, yeah, that's a definitely a weird thing that might go on between those two, but that's definitely a possibility.
So anyone out there is listening, if you have an opinion about that, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's midnight at the Hayward house, and we got our young lovers, James and Donna, uh, quietly on the couch together. And this is like the fickle nature of teenage love, essentially. James is telling Donna about like how he almost said he loved her in the hallway in school one time, and even though he was in love with Laura, and it's just now they're together. So okay, so this is it. Donna and James are a couple who are madly in love with each other. And Donna has apparently forgotten all about Mike, Bobby's sidekick. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we go back to we cut to a sick shot of the Great Northern, that waterfall. And I actually had the opportunity of checking that out one time when we were on tour, and we made a stop on the way out to the eastern part of Washington after playing in Seattle. There was we saw the waterfall and we saw the Double R Diner.
Nice.
Yeah, really cool. You know, sort of a tourist thing to do. And I remember I bought all this stuff at the Double R Diner, and the dude thought I was a fool for spending all this money at a diner, basically. I got like two mugs and a t-shirt, and everything was like super overpriced, of course.
Hmm.
But
Oh,
yeah, so we check in on Cooper after a long day of agenting. He retires to his hotel room at the Great Northern, and has a quick call with Hawk regarding Ronette, and Hawk states that body and spirit are still far apart.
yeah.
You know, Hawk's good like that for you know, these kind of quotes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I dig Hawk. He's kind of one of the most like grounded characters of the series, I think, when it comes to everything. He's just the most regular.
And he also comes at the whole thing from a different cultural perspective too.
Hmm.
Like he has his his whole background is different than the rest of the people of Twin Peaks because he's a Native American. And there's a scene later on where yeah, I mean, like I said, this is my favorite episode of the entire show that I've whenever I rewatch just one thing, it's always this episode. So I pick out a lot of these things.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's just he almost has like a spookiness to him, you know?
Right. Yeah, he
Um,
definitely has something going on there beyond like the normal realm of reality, I guess. He's kind of seeing things from a different perspective, like spiritually or something.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he informs Cooper of a one-armed man at the hospital, but he was unable to follow him and get more information about him. So that comes in, of course. We're leading up to this one-armed man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a knock at the door, and there's a letter. And if obviously Audrey wrote this letter because we hear her music, and he sniffs the actual paper.
Yeah. A little
And
perfume
Audrey's
on there.
yeah, she's the type of lady who spritzes a little bit of her perfume on stuff. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
strikes me as that. And it has a simple, very simply says Jack with one eye. So there you go.
Yeah.
One eye Jacks. Mike and Bobby. This is another one of my favorite scenes. We've
The
got
same here.
Mike and Bobby meet up with Leo in the woods. Now I would not meet this fucking guy in the woods.
Fuck no, man. I mean, he's bad in the daylight, but yeah, being out in the woods and the way they encounter him, like with the flashlights, and I love that fucking scene where they're going through the woods with the flashlights. So like fucking just really creepy and almost liminal. It's like a liminal feeling thing going on, and they meet up with him in the dark. Now, fuck that.
One of the things I noted about that scene, which I found cool, was they have flashlights, right? But their shadows are cast forward as if they're being backlit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah.
it's interesting, right? It's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely not normal. It's definitely an eye catcher and stuff, and it really it takes a turn for the darker side of things. Like I think I mentioned this before. It might have been in this same series of Twin Peaks, but you know how evil always lurks in the woods.
Yep.
And yeah, they're definitely about to meet evil. So
Exactly, man. And that's just some kind of like, back from in our DNA of, being afraid of the dark and in the woods being like this mysterious place and all that.
hmm,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, Leo is just like there's nothing redeemable about this guy. You know what I mean?
no.
Yeah.
He's scum. He's horrible.
Yeah. So there's like they're there to do a transaction, with a football, symbolic of both of those guys being football players. And so there's he shorts him on the drugs because they never paid him the full amount for the last transaction, and Leo's like, cash on delivery, Bobby, you know. And then the creepiest thing of the whole episode is there's some other guy like in the woods.
Yeah, the mystery man. You just see like kind of a shadowy figure appear behind them and stuff. I'm like, man, that's fucking creepy as hell.
Yeah, he just peers out from behind a tree, and they're like, "Who's that?" And Leo's response is just like, "Don't worry about that." So who the fuck was that guy?
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
definitely creepy.
it could be something just as simple as he wanted to have some backup because it's two guys and just him.
Right.
It might be one of his like lackeys being like, in case shit gets crazy.
Or it could
Like
be somebody watching Leo, like,
yeah,
this is a guy in charge behind Leo. Because I mean Leo's got a shotgun, his trusty shotgun beside him. He's good to go. He can handle those two guys pretty easy. So I think this is somebody above Leo that's lurking off in the distance.
I mean, that situation is, can you imagine rolling up and some dude just rolls out with a shotgun? Like
Yeah, never
drugs.
yeah, never been in like the drug situation with that,
No.
but I have been around some shotguns before. And I have also been on the other side of that role with the shotgun in my hand.
Oh
So
man,
yeah, I did try to break into my car a long time ago, and yeah, I had to pull a
dude.
shotgun on him. Yeah.
Well, also, I want to note that Mike brought a knife with him. So that leads into like who brings a knife to a gunfight type of thing.
Right. Yeah. So do you know that?
And there's even a scene where like Mike is reaching into his pocket, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you're gonna pull a knife on this guy and like he's armed, it's like I don't know, and even Leo's like, take your hand out of your pocket, Mike.
Yeah, yeah, they don't fuck with Leo, man.
Wow,
Leo
dude.
might be a scumbag, but he's a very dangerous. Like he has there's no feelings in this guy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like almost like a classic '80s like slasher type dude. There's like nothing there behind those eyes.
I think I mentioned in the other episode that he looks like this guy who played drums in a band that my old band in Boston when I lived up there used to play with all the time.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Like the
That's
kid, the kid even pulled his hair back in that same ponytail.
I wonder if he was a big fan of Leo.
Who knows, man? That's a bad person to be a fan of, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's not a role model.
Yeah. Um. So we discover what the deal is. So it's like some of the half of the money that they owe them is in a safety security box that Laura has. And Leo's like, that's not my problem, man. He's like, Leo needs a new pair of shoes. It's not my problem, Bobby. And then he's like, you think you got problems? And this is the most fucked up part too. He's like, you think you got a problem? Find out my old lady's been giving it away. And it's like, oh shit. He's like stepping out in his own backyard, and he's like, a man needs to clean house. And you wonder at that point if Leo even suspects that Bobby's the one that Shelly's shacking up with when he's gone.
It seems like he might, it seems, I think he does kind of, or he has a hint that it could be that guy, so, it's not 100% sure.
Yeah. But still in all, Bobby must be like, damn, I'm about to get shot right now. This guy knows he's found us out.
Oh, yeah, especially after the next scene when someone's go out for the pass. I'm like, oh, shit, you're about to get
Yep.
shot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's a really good scene, man. Totally that's a memorable thing for the entire series, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So we cut over to Big Ed Hurley coming home. Nadine's working out, uh, displaying it. Well, we get to that part. So Big Ed, he's a mechanic, gas station owner, greasy hands. He drops some grease on Nadine's famous drape runners, and she just goes buck on him. And
Yeah.
he's once again, and he'll, as he states later on, he's in the doghouse. And we see an uncanny display of physical strength out of Nadine after Ed leaves.
Yeah, I made a note of that too. I'm like, God damn, that's like supernatural strong. She bent like that, like 3-inch piece of metal on her workout thing, like it was nothing. I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then from there, we cut to the team, Cooper, Truman, Hawk, you know, Deputy Andy. They're all out in the woods. And they're coming up with some method. There's some method of divination that Cooper had it came to him in a dream.
Mhm.
So they set this bottle, jar, glass item out on a stump that's 60 feet, 6 inches away.
Mm.
So there's a setup. We don't know exactly what's going on, but there's something is happening out in the woods. The woods, once again.
Right.
So we cut over to we see catch up with Shelly. She's watching Invitation to Love, a soap opera, which there's episodes of that pop up here and there throughout the season.
Hmm.
And Bobby um pays her a visit. Now I love that their house is perpetually under construction, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's always something going on with this. It's never finished.
Yeah, the
Like,
Johnson household, like we just got the studs are exposed in the house. He's putting it separate, making another room or some half-assed like construction project he's got going on.
yeah, I think we made the assumption that it could be squatters too, right? I don't know if I
Oh
said
yeah,
that before.
there
Yeah,
you go, man.
yeah, I think they might be squatters. I mean, I don't think old Leo has anything tied to his name on any kind of like paperwork or nothing like that.
That's a great point, man. This dude is so like, and you know what, too, man? Like back in the '90s, you could fucking just disappear off the face of the earth pretty easily, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, man. We didn't have the tech we have now to find people, and we have social media and all that shit and GPS. So yeah,
You could
that
be
could
one
be.
of those guys.
Yep, exactly. And he might have killed the former tenant of that place, and start squatting after that, knowing him because I mean he's evil as fuck. So
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get away with stuff like that these days, though.
No, you're tracked everywhere you go.
It's funny, man. Like the '90s were like a wild time. Like no one knew where you were. Like you literally were on your own when you went someplace by yourself. It was kind of cool.
I loved it, man. Yeah, I'd go out on my bike when I was a kid and go fucking ride miles and miles and miles away and be totally fine and nobody knew where the fuck I was at. Yeah, I miss those times.
So last episode, Leo uh, beat up on Shelly, so she's bruised up right now. And Bobby is he notices that, and he's asks her, well, what happened? And then Shelly makes the statement, Leo Johnson is what happened to me. And it's like, in so many ways, yeah, it's like young girl, like Leo's probably what, like 30 maybe?
I would say so, yeah, in his 30s.
And Shelly's like, I imagine Shelly to be like a high school dropout, possibly.
Yeah, maybe 18, 19, something like that.
Yeah, she might not have finished school. She's working at the diner, and so Leo's got this young girl that he influenced, and then whatever, he's like this older, mysterious man, has like what she perceives as like means, to give her a life, and then he turns into this like complete villain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Bobby's like, if he ever does this to you, I'll kill him.
Yeah,
Empty,
Leo.
empty, empty threats.
Yeah, Leo would fuck him up, man. Like, what are you gonna use to kill this guy? I mean, come on. You better come with the fucking. You better have some guns and know
Yeah.
how to use them. Yeah, he's a bit of a wimp. Leo's definitely not.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
So speaking of the diner, we cut to the Double R diner. Enter Big Ed Hurley. Norman notices him walk in. He
hmm
proclaims, cup of coffee.
yeah,
I love all that stuff, man. How like coffee plays like such a huge like role in this in this show.
yeah. Coffee's a huge thing in this show. It's like a
Yeah.
whole nother character.
Yeah. So Big A explains he's in the doghouse again with Nadine. Norman mentions to him that she ran into Nadine at the store, and all she was talking about is her drape runners. So that's like a big project for Nadine. And then we go back to the woods. We've got our law enforcement team out there, led by Special Agent Dale Cooper. He's about to impart on them his investigative techniques in trying to solve this case.
Definitely. They also before we go any further with that, did you notice the donut lineup? Like,
Oh yeah, I was
yeah,
getting to that.
yeah.
There's
Okay, cool.
an impressive donut arrangement that they put together. And yeah, cops, donuts. But in general, donuts like that once again, just going back to my experiences in Washington State, it's like coffee, any kind of morning pastry. That's what I remember from living out there. Before I had to work out in this refinery, and it was like uh, every morning, my job, I had to be there at 7, right? Because I had to get all the burn permits and everything. So like
Mhm.
I would get up at like 5:30, head to this diner real quick. Actually, earlier than that. Shit, I was at the diner at like 5:30 and like
Mm.
get a cup of coffee. And that was the first time I'd actually had a bear claw. That pastry?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, sit down. I kind of had this little rapport with the waitress too in the beginning of that. I remember that, dude. It was like, I'm like, oh, she was an older woman. I was like probably like 22 or something like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, what's that what's that thing over there like under the under the glass? And she's like, oh, that's a bear claw. I'm like, I think I'm fixing to have one of those for breakfast. So yeah, it was kind of that was my introduction to bear claws, the Northwest.
Nice.
Yeah. So Lucy was like, anyone care for a warm up? And of course, everyone wants more coffee. So there's like this big rush to get more coffee. Cooper takes one sip, spits it out,
Yeah.
and he says, damn good coffee and hot. So sick, man. I love it.
Yeah, he takes his coffee seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So Cooper talks about, he goes into his fascination with Tibet and the Dalai Lama, and in kind of abstract terms, he goes into how dreams inform his deductive techniques.
Hmm.
So, everyone's like, okay, let's uh let's see what this is all about, So they found the letter J at being significant in Laura's diary. There's a quote in there, nervous about meeting J.
Right.
So Cooper wants to focus on everything that has a J in it, as been the case so far. And they're gonna focus on that. And this is actually a pretty interesting, cool way of kind of running down some of the characters for people who might have like lost the thread a little bit here.
Yeah, a bit of a catch up. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lucy manages the list. They come up with a list of names. Hawk is standing next to him with oven mittens on, with a box, a bucket filled with rocks.
Yeah.
And Andy's out in the field. You know, so they run down the list, and the whole thing that this is kind of like. Actually, I want to talk about this for a minute. So the concept is they mention a name, and Cooper throws a rock at the jar that's out on the stump that's 60 feet 6 inches away.
Hmm.
Right now, if it how close or far away or it's a direct hit, that's what is focusing him on what you know how who would be more likely to be involved directly in this murder case,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
One could say that there's an incredible amount of bias. Like, if he doesn't believe you're part of the case, he just won't hit the jar, you know what I mean, with the rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his hand is guided by like, I really don't like Leo Johnson or whatever. So maybe that's why he hit it. Or one could definitely have a very well-grounded basis for stating that there's an incredible amount of bias in this. However, if you think about what he just went into about his deductive reasoning and the strength of dreams, and maybe this is a way like for him to connect to this instinct that he has, and yes, it is bias, but maybe that bias is actually sort of like a manifestation of like this deductive power that he has. So I don't
Hmm.
know. I'm open-minded about this whole thing.
Yeah.
And so is Truman. And because he states to him, so this came to you in a dream. And Cooper is like, yes. And Truman is like, okay, well, let's see where this goes. All right, so start out James Hurley, miss. Josie Packard, Laura instructed her in English. There's a miss.
Hmm.
Dr. Jacoby hits the bottle, but doesn't break it.
Definitely big connection there, though.
Yeah,
So.
so he notes that, and he has Lucy make a notation next to his name. Johnny Horn, that's the uh, you know the son of Ben Horn.
Hmm.
Nothing. Norma Jennings, Laura, that was who she worked with for her Meals on Wheels program. Safe. Shelly Johnson, okay, hits the tree and ricochets off and strikes Andy in the head.
Almost like a whole the battered like woman thing, like how she's getting beat on by fucking Leo. So maybe that's a
That
thing.
is exactly what I was thinking too, man. And
Yeah.
yet they didn't note that though. You know what I mean? It's like you're like, that's so interesting because yeah, she's connected with Leo obviously, and he beat her
Hmm.
up, and yeah, interesting. Good
Hmm.
good point.
Yeah.
Jack with one eye. So they take that off the list because it was determined that it was a casino. So that's off.
Hmm.
Finally, Leo Johnson, and Truman states connection with Laura unknown. So Cooper throws the rock, it hits the bottle, and it shatters. Right now, what's cool about this scene is that it had a pretty lighthearted feel to it from the beginning. Right, like it was like this
Hmm.
kind of lighthearted thing. as soon as the bottle shatters, everything changes in the scene. Like the whole tone changes.
Yeah, it gets real serious real fast.
Like the look on Cooper's face, like he really it moves him and he gets real serious. And then even the music sort of shifts too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So all right, so we're on to Leo. Leo is on Cooper's radar now.
Definitely.
So we cut back to the Double R diner. Audrey slinks in,
Cat like as
at
always.
like, yep.
Yeah.
She puts some music on the jukebox, this like abstract, like jazzy, like stuff that somehow is on a small town jukebox.
Right.
And she sits down at the counter and orders a cup of coffee. All right. Um, we see Donna and her family, they're eating. They order, they talking about it's post church, I guess, right?
Hmm.
So, Donna goes up to say hello and they talk about Laura. And so Audrey asks Donna, do you like coffee? And Donna's response was like a typical, high school girl response with cream and sugar.
Hmm.
Audrey says her response is Agent Cooper loves coffee, but Agent Cooper likes his coffee black. And Donna, like she's like, Audrey, oh my God, so scandalous. And it also leads me to believe that maybe Audrey is drinking coffee because Agent Cooper was drinking coffee. Because, it's not a back then, it's not like I mean, for me, I started drinking coffee at like age 10 because my family were Italian. So we always had espresso around and that was a thing. But it's conceivable to think that a high school girl wouldn't be really drinking coffee, you know what I mean?
No, I totally think she's drinking coffee because of Cooper. Like she's so infatuated with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Audrey asks Donna because Audrey is getting hip to this whole thing with her dad and and Laura's dad and all this she's seeing some connections between things behind the scenes. So she asked Donna if Laura ever talked about her father. So that's kind of ominous.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then Audrey does her dance, her famous Audrey dance at the diner.
Yeah, I love the Audrey dance, man. It's so like hypnotizing, and I think she's hot as hell. I've always had a big crush on her. So like, yeah, it's a good scene.
Yeah. Once, speaking a little bit about Audrey and Laura, it's like once again, Lynch always has a blonde and a brunette in his movies, all of his films.
Hmm. I noticed that. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
a brunette type guy, so this is always like, yeah, yeah, Audrey's great.
Until I got married, I was a brunette guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've seen you know, the other side of the fence now.
You've seen the light.
I've seen the light on the other side of
Yeah.
the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're back at the station. Um, they're going over evidence, and then we have another iconic introduction to an iconic character,
Yes.
Albert Rosenfield, played by the late great Miguel Ferrer, rolls up, and
Hmm.
he just immediately starts talking shit when he he gets there. He's a forensics guy. Like they do the autopsies and it's an FBI like top in his field. And Cooper even mentions to him that like he's like, he might be a little bit hard to work with, might be a little difficult to Truman. He gives him a preview, but he's one of the best. And Truman responds like, well, if he's working with you, Cooper, I'm assuming he's top in his field. So
Mm.
Truman has a lot of trust and respect for Agent. I mean, Truman has a lot of respect for Agent Cooper.
Yeah.
So Albert rolls up, immediately. What kind of two-bit operation is running out of this treehouse? Is one of the things he says.
Yeah. And
He
that's the
takes a
thing with
look.
that, Miguel, like as an actor and stuff, like in all his roles, he's always like that asshole type character.
Yeah,
He's like better than everybody or whatever. And I love that about him. He was so good with that. And yeah.
yeah, just like one of those guys.
Yeah.
Takes a look around and he's like, "Welcome to amateur hour. Looks like we got an all-nighter, boys." So that doesn't sit right with Truman. Truman's a nice guy. He's used to things being a certain way up there in Twin Peaks. The quiet life. Everyone's friendly to each other and courteous for the most part. And then this like city slicker shows up and he's just making waves.
Hmm.
So he like, and this part, I feel bad for Truman, but also it's like, what do you expect, man? So he pulls Albert aside and he's like, someone start talking like that. He'll be looking for his teeth 2 blocks up on Queer Street, meaning that like some like old timey, like folksy way of telling somebody that like, if you don't watch your step, I'll knock your teeth out.
Yeah, yeah. Some total like 50s talk or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Albert just disregards it and completely just walks away from it. And I was like, damn, that's cold. You know?
Yeah, he's no threat to him.
Yeah, he's like, whatever, guy. So now we're at the Martell house and we catch up with Catherine, Josie, and Pete. And she's kind of like fishing about what Cooper wanted at the when he was talking to Pete, you know.
Hmm.
And he mentions that he talked to Josie, and we're starting to see that there's like something going on, some behind the scenes thing happening with the Martells and the Packards.
Hmm.
And then he sneaks a key to Josie because there's like the secret ledger that has to be uncovered here. So she finds that there's 2 ledgers. So that's yet again another mystery to be solved in this spider web of intrigue in Twin Peaks.
Right.
Yeah. Um, Now we're back at the Palmer house, and Leland is losing his mind.
Yeah, he's finally starting to unwind. Like everything's finally like, yeah, the facade of like being like everything's okay is finally like wearing down.
And like once again, this is another moment. This in this episode. This is an episode where if you in real time it didn't seem as significant, but actually if you years later now, like decades later, when you've seen this show in its entirety several times, you this scene is even more painful, you know?
Right. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So Leland's losing his mind. He puts on Pennsylvania 65000, and he starts dancing. And Sarah is like completely upset, and in their sort of struggle that they do, they break a photograph of Laura, shatters the glass, and
Hmm.
Leland starts crying, and he cuts his hand, and he there's puts blood on the Laura's face basically in the photo, and it's kind of like there you go, he's red-handed. It's
Right.
literally red-handed, and it's a huge foreshadowing of the whole conclusion of this thing.
100%. Yeah, that was something I took notes on too. Was like the foreshadowing of the blood on the picture and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, yeah, that's definitely tells you something if you're paying attention.
And now we get into the greatest few moments of filmmaking in all of television history, man. If you
Agreed.
get me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Cooper turns in for the night and then he drifts off into dreamland. And now we enter the world of the Red Room and the Man from Another Place. And it's beyond words how cool and awesome this next few moments in this season in this episode are.
Hmm.
There's like we see the man with one arm, and he delivers like one of the sickest monologues ever.
Oh, dude,
But
it's so badass.
yeah, I think I'm gonna definitely has inspired so many things for so many people, I think. But there's a line in here where he says, "The magician longs to see one chance out between 2 worlds. Fire walk with me."
Hmm.
Okay, so that's another line of foreshadowing. Once everything is kind of revealed, you know,
Right.
it connects like I mean I don't know if we should talk about how Leland is actually his involvement in it, but it it sort of foreshadows that there is an evil from another world that channels into this world.
Hmm.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good way to leave it. I don't give
Yeah.
too
For
much
those of
away.
you out there who haven't seen this 100 times already.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's like another line where he's talking about Bob, him and Bob. So he's like, we lived among the people. I think you say convenience store. We lived above it. And it just paints like such a sketchy picture of these two weirdos, Bob and this guy with no arm. Or at the
Yeah.
time, I guess he had two arms. But just like these like creepy like guys living in an apartment above a convenience store.
Yeah. Yeah. So it definitely paints a creepy vibe. Like they're above you the whole time, just kind of like peering at you and stuff, just waiting to make their move. But they're always around you. They're always there, right above you.
And it's like it ties into like that early 90s like serial killer culture, you know. It's like everyone was like reading about serial murder throughout the 90s and me too. I was like a big fan of like all that true crime stuff from that era and
Hmm.
and you'd always the guys that become serial killers are always these unremarkable low level people, you know.
Hmm.
It's not like you know, American Psycho, like some dude who's like a master of industry is out there serial murdering. That's not the typical guy. It's like some dude who's like lives in the underside of society, like in living above a convenience store. Or, he's like a night watchman or something creepy like that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and that's the guys the this reality's manifestation of these two guys. They're just like these random kind of low level guys that you might see at like a 7-Eleven at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something, you know?
Definitely gonna run into them at your local Walmart at like 1 in the morning
Yeah.
when it used to be like 24 hours. But yeah,
Yeah. And then we cut over to, we see Bob standing in like a boiler room or something. And
yeah,
he's like, Mike, and the sickest line, I'll catch you in my death bag.
oh yeah,
That's like and this is the beauty of why this episode is so Lynchian. David Lynch just has that connection to once again, like how Cooper has his dream world where he uses dreams to inform his deductive reasoning. And we all know that Lynch is like big into transcendental meditation and everything.
hmm,
But this is really where you see he's connecting to some deep primal thing that allows him to come up with these things like catch you in my death bag. Like you don't know what that is, but you know what it is. You know what I'm trying to say?
right, right, yeah,
Like you
yeah,
can't really explain what that is, but some part of you understands what he's talking about.
yeah. You get it, but you just don't know where it's coming. Like you don't know how to really decipher it, but you understand it.
Yeah. Even Fire Walk with Me, like that, it's such like a sick, like heavy, like statement, but you don't really know what that is, but you know what it is. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah. So there's a lot of that that goes on in Twin Peaks, which I think is great. So in this room, this other place, we have an older Cooper and Laura Palmer are sitting there. And then the man from another place, like this little guy,
hmm,
everything's backwards. And they backtrack the way his voice is tracked and the way he moves. It's all weird and sketchy looking,
yeah,
and he just says some crazy stuff to him, man. It's like, doesn't she look like Laura Palmer? Implying that maybe it's not actually Laura Palmer that's sitting there.
yeah. He says it's his sister, and she has many secrets or something.
Yeah, and she's filled with secrets,
Yeah,
you know. But once again, that's like, watching this thing so many times, specifically this part of the episode, I was like, oh, when he's saying that, doesn't she look like Laura Palmer? Like in maybe the thing he's trying to impress on him is that because this is all in a dream, that well, this actually isn't Laura Palmer. This is your dream version of her,
mm,
and all these forces around you are making you create this world that exists in this dream that you're not actually there, but you're looking at a reflection of it or something. I don't know. I'm just like I think about this scene so often, and I come up with so many different ideas about it that it's like I don't know. And I guess that's the beauty of Lynch's films in general. Is like he doesn't explain anything to you. He doesn't hold your hand through any of this stuff, and you just kind of find your own way, and it makes sense to you, I guess, you know.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't hold your hand for this stuff. Also, did you notice when the man from another place is sitting there rubbing his like hands together? There's something in the background, like this shadow thing that's kind of flying beyond like the red backdrop.
Yeah,
Did you notice that?
yeah, yeah. And that reminds me of there was a scene I think in Eraserhead that had something similar to that.
Hmm.
But yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah, like it kind of, to me, it kind of looks like a stingray or something, like
Yeah,
or some kind of like. There's that Necronomicon movie that came out, based on the Lovecraft stuff in the '90s. I don't know if you remember
yeah,
that movie. Yeah,
definitely.
there's the one short, or I mean, it was like an anthology, but the one that took place here was the one story had those like weird looking like stingray things with the chainsaw fucking tails, and that's what that kind of reminded me of floating around there.
Yeah, I could see
Yeah,
that for sure. Yeah.
creepy.
So
Yeah,
so that's so all this stuff, Laura goes over and whispers in his ear. You don't really know what she says. You're assuming that she's telling him in his dream world who killed her.
hmm,
That was my takeaway at least.
same. Yeah,
Cooper wakes up. First thing he does, he calls Truman to tell him that he knows who killed Laura Palmer, but it's going to have to wait till tomorrow.
yeah. It can wait till tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, then the music comes in. We cut back to the man from another place continuing his like dance. I gotta say, he's like definitely one hell of a dancer, that guy.
He is, yeah. Great actor too. He was in some other, he was in Carnival, which was a really good show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Carnival. He was
Yeah.
in some other Lynch stuff too. Mulholland
Yep.
Drive, you
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yeah. Great actor.
Yeah. So that's yeah, that's the episode, man. It's like one of my favorite things Lynch did, actually.
Dude, yeah, for me it's just that last series of things, like with those awesome quotes from the one armed man and Bob, is like that's some of the darkest shit ever.
Yeah. Yeah, this goes down as one of my favorite episodes. A lot of stuff is like foreshadowed, so this is kind of like an important part of the whole series.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely setting things up for like some really big shit that's about to happen. So
Yeah. So there you go, man. That's yeah, remember we talked about doing two episodes? I don't think that's real. It was realistic, man.
no, no, definitely not. Not with all the details and stuff that goes on with these episodes. No way in hell. We'd be talking for like what 3 hours on on two episodes. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
People would start losing attention, I think, halfway through.
yeah, we made the right decision.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry for the delay on a couple on this stuff too, man. It's just a lot, a lot of things have been sort of bubbling up in my life right now. Not bad, but mostly good things. Like
Yeah,
getting married and
yeah,
looking
these are
for
big
houses.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big stuff. And yeah, no worries at all for the delays and stuff. This is gonna be an ongoing series, and they're all gonna get out eventually and stuff. And yeah, no rush.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to moving forward especially for season one. And even the return is like that's going to be down the line, obviously a while, but like the return discussions I think are going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's like I said, that's the one I'm least like knowledgeable about. One and two, I'm really good on, but yeah, I'm looking forward to when we get to that one.
The musical guests in the return came as a surprise to me, but were pretty awesome actually.
Hmm.
Like
That's the scene I could see Bombard playing on a on one of those episodes. If the
yeah.
season continued or something like that's perfect for them.
Well, it's funny you mentioned them. The next week actually the episode's going up. I finally had a chance to catch up with those guys again.
Sweet. I thought you did because you alluded to that on I think it was on Necromaniacs maybe. I think you alluded to them coming on, so that's cool.
Yeah, it
Glad to hear
was
that.
because we were supposed to talk before the album came out. Like it was the episode that we did was supposed to air the week the new record came out, and
Mhm.
there was some stuff I had to deal with, like with my mom, family related things that came up out of nowhere, and I had to reschedule with them, and then they got really busy, and then we finally talked earlier this week, and of course those guys are big Lynch fans. Everyone knows that. It's
Mhm.
obvious in their music that
Right.
they're film guys too. Like they love movies. I got all three of them on the show actually. Not the first time around, it was just Reed,
Mhm.
but his brother came on and Will, the bass player, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but Reed plays all the guitars on the album.
I didn't know that, but I know he does play guitar and stuff. But that's cool
Yeah.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah, so when you see them live and they have two guitar players and and a synth guy,
Uh
they're
huh.
not actually dudes that play on the records. Like,
Ah, I gotcha.
yeah, Reed and Blaze do all the, instruments, and Will plays bass on everything.
Nice.
And another funny thing too is I saw them play once. Uh, it was like the rock band version. They didn't have like just the two guitar players and there's no synths.
Uh huh.
But the high parts that are typically sang by the female vocal,
Hmm.
Will, the bass player, sings those parts in a falsetto. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's funny, but now I guess there's a lady playing guitar for them live, and she handles those parts now. So Will was happy that like he didn't have to sing a falsetto.
that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Falsettos are no go for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it though. Yeah, I get it. You gotta do what you gotta do live.
yeah. So I'm excited about that. That they would have been great as a guest on the show for sure.
Yeah, dude, they're one of my favorite bands after you introduced them to me and stuff. And man, I listen to Bombard at least like once a day, probably.
Yeah.
Just random stuff. They're so fucking good, and they give me that total Lynch vibe. Like they are fucking 100% David Lynch band. So good.
One of the things that I really dig about them is like you listen to them and you can tell, all right, they're into this type of stuff. Like they're into like, Nick Cave and like the Swans and stuff like that. And then movies like
Mhm.
scores. There are a lot of bands, especially maybe not like I haven't lived in Brooklyn in a while, but like when I used to live in Brooklyn, there was like so many second-rate bands that were just like, okay, we're gonna wear like cowboy boots and belt buckles and have sideburns and be influenced by like Nick Cave and wear blazers and stuff like that on stage.
Yeah.
And like, but they were missing that element that made them worthwhile.
Mhm.
So really, like Bambara, like they feel like a band that came out in the 90s.
Oh yeah, 100% do. Yeah, that's another thing, man. They have that '90s feel to them, like big time.
Yeah, like they don't seem like whatever that element is, maybe it's the literary nature of their, because Reed's like a, big, fan of literature and writing, and he writes himself, and their attention, like what's inspiring them to make the music is more like, definitely music, but also like a film vibe, like very visual. Like they talk about in the episode how they're visually oriented,
Hmm.
and they're not trying to necessarily copy anybody. Because if you listen to their entire catalog, it's not like it's been evolving for like over 10 years, you know.
Hmm.
But then there's them, and then Dry Wedding from Portland, or another band that's very much their own thing, but are heavily influenced by all the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, they were also fucking great. You and Ralph had them. You were talking about them on one of your episodes, and that got me to them as well. Yeah, very good band.
Yeah, and then connected to them is Carrion Empire, which is
Yep.
another great band from that area, and they're more like like I would say like heavier as far as like sound goes,
Hmm.
but still that dreary, introspective kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, I dig all that. Yeah, I follow them on Instagram and stuff, and I think they follow me back. But yeah, they're a really good band as well. All kinds of good music that's been recommended from you and Ralph and stuff. It's really cool.
And also it's like people talk about how there's no, oh, I'm bored, I'm jaded, whatever, like nothing good. Dude, there's tons of good shit to listen to. And just you just got to look for it. You got to be like aware.
Yeah, yeah, I hear it all the time. Like same with movies too. Like there's nothing good anymore, and like since like the '90s, like no, no, you're fucking way wrong, man. You got to look. It's out there.
Well, there are people that are in my friends circle too, man, that are just like even just specifically with horror films that are like, oh man, I just watch stuff from the 70s, I just watch 80s stuff. I'm like, why? You're
Yeah,
like, now we're like 25 years into the new millennium. It's like there's so much great shit that is, we're not discounting any of that older stuff, but like there's so much awesome stuff out now that like whole new like subgenres have come into existence in the last 25 years.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand that outlook on things, man. I'm like, so much good new shit. Like, just gotta pay attention and look, and don't be so goddamn close minded on all that. You know.
Yeah. Well, dude, thanks for joining us, brother. It's awesome talking to you, man.
Hell yeah, man. It's always a good time, and I really enjoy doing these episodes, and looking forward to doing what episode 4 next go round. So
That's right. Oh yeah, real quick, man, before we go. So how's things going with Braxis Horn?
uh it's going good. I just upgraded my Mac Mini to a Mac Mini M4. I just got it like 2 days ago. So that means that it can handle any shit I throw at it.
Hmm.
So it's really nice and stuff. And yeah, pretty soon I'm gonna start laying down some synths. I think I finally tamed my Moog Matriarch a bit where
Hell
I
yeah.
can actually make music with it because there's a lot of shit to learn with this thing, and so I think I got a decent handle on that. And yeah, I'm gonna start doing synths here pretty soon. I say the next month or two. I'm not rushing things. I just gotta get the feeling for it and stuff. And yeah, I'll be sending tracks your way for vocals and stuff.
Fuck
And
yeah.
I know Matt's ready to go with
Matt's
drums and
always ready to
everything.
go.
Yes, man. He's a good motivator, man. Like, dude, I don't know how you do it, but you're a fucking metal machine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to stuff. I'm getting things ready. I'm actually redoing my desk space right now for make sure everything I have room for like speakers and all this stuff. Like my
Nice.
desk is a bit of a mess right now, but yeah, I got some badass hardware, so it should be even easier to go this time with this new Mac and everything. So pretty excited about that.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I have like, bits and pieces of writing and stuff too, which is like, I'm probably gonna turn into lyrics at some point.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what you got for the new stuff, and I want to keep it as dark as I possibly can, just like the first album and stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, man. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing it. I'm looking forward to getting going on, being part of that, and I'm excited about all that stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm fucking honored to have you and Matt on board as always. Like, yeah, this is a one of the best things I've ever done musically. I love the directions and I love the whole darkness and experimentalness of it. It's nothing's by the book, it's like its own thing, its own like dark entity. So
I
it's
think your
pretty
wife
cool.
even commented on Facebook when the first stuff went up. She's like, "You guys created your own style, your own genre of music."
Kind of, sort of. I mean, there's other bands out there like it and stuff, but I think we take a bit of a different approach to it and kind of sets us apart a bit. So hopefully I can keep that up with the new album. So
Well, I'm looking forward to it, man. And we're entering a really good part of the year for this type of creativity too.
yeah, and the weird thing is I usually do like my music stuff around when it starts to get a little bit cooler and autumn comes in and October's on the horizon and stuff. Like, I don't know, that's like it rejuvenates me a bit and gets me in that creative mindset.
I feel the same way, man. There's something about like that time of year that just gets things going for me as well, like creatively.
Yeah, it's a good time for us dark creative people.
All right, man. Have a good day. And thanks for listening, everyone.
Take it easy.
Pennsylvania 6 5000.
765-000.
Can you hear me? Catch you with my death bag. You may think I've gone